From the latest on Caribbean cruises to kosher safaris, pilgrimages to Jewish Eastern Europe, and award-winning wines and international cuisine in sun-drenched Tel Aviv. Sit back and enjoy the trip with the travel edition of the Jerusalem Post podcast.
Hello.
Hello, Mark.
Cup of coffee.
It is really, really good coffee. Apparently it's Hungarian.
Blintzes.
Yes, you can get cheese blintzes and blintzes with nuts in as well.
We're having a last cup of coffee.
With milk.
With milk.
And could be cheese if we have the blintzes.
But we're not going to because we don't want to get full up. Before we go on an intrepid adventure.
For me, it's not such a big leap, but for you, this is quite the jump.
I don't know. I end up eating a lot of vegetarian when I'm out with you.
Yeah, but when you get the chance to dip into your fleshicks, your meaties, you quite enjoy it.
I'm all right with chicken. I'm not big on red meat. I won't go into the medical details of why because I'm not sure all about how listeners want to hear.
What is amazing is how many people in Israel are choosing not to eat meat.
More and more.
We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. Today we are going to bring you Tel Aviv, but from the point of view of its vegan population.
I love a nice food tour, so we've decided to combine being vegan with filling my tummy.
So if you've been listening to this podcast over the years, you'll have heard that we've done a couple of food tours. We did one up in the Galilee where we sampled various Arab, Druze types of food.
And got to make it.
That was a lot of fun. Way back at the start, going on for 2 years ago.
We've only been doing this for 18 months.
Going on for 2 years.
It was about a year ago. Do you want to fight?
Oh, goodness sake. And then we did another food tour.
In B'nai Brak.
We went for the sort of ultra-Orthodox, predominantly Ashkenazi fare of cholent and herring. And you enjoyed your meats.
And calf's foot jelly.
So this time we're going to another direction as a beggar sticks out his hand in our direction and is hoping that because we're holding microphones, we will have the opportunity to dip into our pockets and give him a few shekels. You're not even looking at him, Mark.
I'm trying not to say something rude. It's bad enough when we're in cafes and waiters come up.
This is a first on the podcast. Anyway, in a couple of minutes' time, we're off to meet our host for this tour. But before that...
a question, which should drag it out long enough for the beggar to go away.
He's gone. He's gone round the corner. He's got the message.
He'll be back in a minute after the question, or he'll shout the answer to the question.
Go for it.
Question number one. In fact, we're only doing one question. The question is, what percentage of Tel Aviv's residents are vegetarian or vegan?
The answer at the end of the pod.
This is the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
So, as we said, we're off to meet our guide, and we have met. So let's say a hello on behalf of everybody to our guide tonight, Evyatar Gover.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
Tell us who you are, where you come from, because you've got a great American accent.
So, my name is Evyatar Gover. I'm the owner of Be Tel Aviv Tours. We're a tourism company for almost 10 years now. I'm the inventor, I guess, of the vegan tour, which we're on, the first and only vegan tour in Israel. We do all kinds of different types of tours, market tours, architecture, nightlife, history, of course, and many, many more fun activities. I'm 40 years old. I live in Tel Aviv. I'm half American, as you said, and also half Polish. I love to travel. I love to host. I love Israel. I love food. I love lifestyle and culture. And I really, really love Tel Aviv. So if you haven't been yet, or if you're from the area, or if you are interested about things in Tel Aviv, so you definitely should explore it more and come and see and hear and just have fun in Tel Aviv.
I'm sure Mark's about to ask the next question, but just to let you know, and our listeners, of course, all the way at the end of this podcast, we're going to give out all of your contact details. So, folks, if you're bored by this whole pod and all you want to do is get Evyatar's details, they're all the way at the end.
And he doesn't look 40 at all. It's clearly good for you, this food tour. First, an obvious question is, why Tel Aviv for a vegan food tour?
So it's not specifically Tel Aviv, it's also Israel that became a big vegan country. And there's several reasons, but I think we could start from the global aspect of the context of a city. Any urban center is very aware and even, I'd say, young and active and connected to different sources of information. So Tel Aviv is just another city that is well informed about the effects of eating meat, global warming, ecosystems, society and its effects on the world, our fingerprint or our footprint of just being human creatures. But there are also other things in Israel and particularly in Tel Aviv that are very distinctive. I like to tell on my tours, on all of them there's different contexts that are related, that Israel is a world leader in many different aspects. One of those things that Israel is very well known for, actually, I could say that even more so as an American, is agriculture and farming, which means the produce. The fruits and vegetables here are really off the hook, are potent, are rich, are flavorful, are delightful, are colorful. And again, as an American, a tomato here tastes like a tomato, and a cucumber like a cucumber should, and an onion like an onion, and very clearly, and a good produce makes a good product. So this is, I guess, one of the biggest reasons why the vegan culture here and the food here is so easy to make and to consume. Israel and Israelis, we have like this kind of concept of a very high level of communication. When we travel, we call it the hummus trail, which we tell everybody where's the next place to eat or where to go, the next city to visit. So also the information here is passed by very, very efficiently. So there's a lot of blogs concerning veganism. There's many Facebook pages. Every city here or district has a Facebook page, and vegans going out, and vegans with dogs, and vegans working out, and just you can connect with so many different vegan aspects online or on Facebook or whatever.
You've talked about why plant, but why not meat and fish and animal products?
I believe today, and this is a rough estimate, and of course, like any study or statistic, it really depends who you ask, and I'm sure this number may be, disputed, but even to a certain level, it's still ridiculous. Today, 85% of farming lands are devoted to the meat industry. While there's hunger in the world, and there's famine, and there's drought, and the costs of foods are skyrocketing even more today. It's so relevant because most of the food that we're growing in the world, the farming, goes to the food that we eat, the food for the food. There's another study that says that if we go plant-based in our farming, we will get 5 times more nutrition and vitamins and carbs or whatever we need on the same land that we're using today to feed the animals. If we repurpose it for, vegetables and fruits and other types of food, more than just wheat or grains for the animals, we could even maybe solve world hunger or at least drop the prices of our foods. And that's a statistic you can't, really ignore.
And in Israel, probably ever more so, there is a scarcity of land. If you've ever rented or bought an apartment in Israel, you'll know how expensive a square foot of land is. So is that one of the reasons maybe that veganism is really big in Israel?
Today with transportation and shipping, it's not necessarily that everything needs to be locally grown. I mean, it's an advantage, and you're able to get good produce from other countries and from Europe, I guess. And I think we're also not such a large population, so we're able to feed ourselves. I mean, these are things that are concerning the government, and, we're originally a farming state. We grew up here. The people that created the state of Israel. Originally, they were swamp dryers, but also farmers, and grew their own vegetables and fruits. And this is a key to also being an island state. We're surrounded by, we're not going to go into politics, but by non-friendly countries. And we needed to also base ourselves on our own produce. So we are able to sustain ourselves, but today in modern world, it's not a necessity.
I've got one more question before we stop, because the food in front of us is going cold as we speak. Where are we now? What neighbourhood are we in, and what is this place that you've brought us to? Because there are no signs outside whatsoever that even suggest this is a restaurant, never mind a vegan restaurant.
This is one of the things I really love about my tours, is that we love to take you to the off the beaten path kind of stops and to explore with our legs the city all over, and take you to these places that just open your eyes and you're like, I'd never find this place myself, or this is fantastic. And we're at Bana Restaurant on Nachmani Street. It's a half block from Rothschild Boulevard, which is basically the center, the heart of the city. So we're in the center of Tel Aviv, a very lively, fun, aesthetic, beautiful boulevard and district in the middle of Tel Aviv. The restaurant is plant-based. It is all really, really high-leveled ingredients. It's a seasonal restaurant which changes by what's fresh every pretty much quarter or even more often. Everything is brought from boutique growers, the best possible produce that you could get your hands on, and with a very minimal style of seasoning. There's barely salt and pepper, and the center of the dish and the focus is on the plants. It's not even kitchen dishes. It's several vegetables and herbs put together to create a dish and not more. And I think this is something beautiful. It's really one of the places that really takes food as art and creation, and not just recipes and dishes. And we're going to taste some really, really good food here. I'm excited.
Be Tel Aviv.
So we're joined by Or Ellenberg, who is a chef at Bana, and he's going to explain a little bit about these two beautiful dishes that are in front of us at the moment, although we have wiped out about half of it so far.
Extremely tasty. What have we been eating?
I'll begin with the smoked wheat tabbouleh. It's a dish based on a bed of tzatziki, which is a sauce made from fermented cashews with dill and cucumbers. I mix some smoked wheat kernels with lemon juice and a lot of olive oil with salt. The vegetables on the dish are changing every day, but today I used the Japanese pumpkin with the smoked cherry tomatoes and zucchini. There's a lot of cilantro in it and a lot of lemon juice.
And the other dish?
The other dish is portobello mushrooms. It's roasted portobello mushrooms with bok choy, scallions, and scordiglia sauce, which is a Greek sauce made from garlic confit, cashews, and almonds with roasted walnuts.
Is it at all restrictive being a vegan chef? Are there things that you think it would be so much easier rather than using cashew instead of cheese or instead of milk? Or is it just a way of life, it's easy, it comes natural?
Definitely a way of life. I do not find it restrictive at all. Actually, it's way easier. Cheese is something that spoils very quickly. Butter is something that spoils very quickly. When I use cashew, when I use vegetables,
Mark, one of the problems that I've had on a personal level is that I went to see a doctor about 6 months ago, and
he gave you some tablets.
and she said, your cholesterol is way out of control, stop eating hard cheese. So I just made, for the first time, cheddar from cashew. You're looking at me and thinking, what am I meant to say next?
I'm waiting for the punchline.
No, so I tried it.
But keep talking, because I'm eating, because this is lovely.
I fermented it over a period of 2 weeks. It doesn't taste anything like cheddar, but it's really good. It's spreadable, which was disappointing because I wanted hard, but it was well worth a try.
Ironically, I'm not the smallest person in the world, but I've got very good glucose and very good cholesterol, and I don't eat any red meat. I eat white meat occasionally. I eat probably a bit too much cheese, but as I've come to Israel and I've lived here more, I eat less and less meat and more vegetarian and vegan food. And at my age and my size, I'm amazed how good it is for me.
And what about you at home? Are you also vegan, and do you also go into this type of cooking?
I'm vegetarian. I cook a lot of what I cook here in the restaurant, actually. I do eat some cheese from time to time, but I do prefer using the vegetable replacements where I can find them, which is really easy in Tel Aviv. But my cooking at home is really similar to the cooking I do at the restaurant. This is the reason I came to this specific restaurant.
I'm just going to hand the microphone over to Evie, because he was tapping me on the shoulder saying, I'd like to say something.
You two have become friends. Before he was Evyatar, he's already Evie.
Yeah, why not? That's my nickname, and we're all buddies and a family now. I just wanted to say two things. First of all, about Bana restaurant. The ingredients here change every day, and the menu is seasonal, and the style here is sharing. So it's not really about coming here and choosing a specific dish that you heard on the podcast. Anything you pick on the menu, you're gonna really enjoy and really, like, literally lick your fingers and lick the plate and not leave anything left behind. This is from experience of several years I worked with this restaurant. And David, about what you said, making cheddar, first of all, today it's very accessible, like Or said. Also, anything you make, maybe for the first time, it's not going to be perfect.
Absolutely.
Like hummus is art, which you need to make maybe 50 or 100 times before it's perfected. So it's not hard to make all the vegan replacements. You just need to, stick at it, pretty much, like anything else.
Just talking about all of these things, I am going to give you a very quick recipe for a vinaigrette that will go great on any salad. It is 3/4 of a cup of olive oil, 1/3 of a cup of balsamic vinegar, and 1 tablespoon of French mustard, and add to it whatever seasonings you want. Give it a good shake. It's thick and goes really good on any salad.
Thank you, Asaf Granit.
You're very welcome. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks
you.
all.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris.
Having put away our first course and our first plates, Eviatar has taken us for a well-needed walk to walk off course number 1 and has brought us to somewhere very, very different for our second course. Eviatar, where are we?
Well, we're now at the Green Roll, which is kind of a mind-blowing concept of vegan sushi. Yes, you heard correctly. And it's not just any vegan sushi. It's really delicious and spectacular and creative and colorful and exciting. Can I say already that we're after the food?
You can.
Because we devoured this plate. There's nothing left.
There's one piece left.
There is no longer anything left. I've
Okay.
got it in. Hang on a minute. Let me ask the creator of this, whose name I've already forgotten, is Eliran. Eliran, what am I holding in my hand that I'm about to put in my mouth?
You hold in a roll named Red Dragon Roll. Inside there is a tempura asparagus, sweet potato, shiitake mushroom and avocado. Come with avocado top, cashew cheese and sriracha sauce. It's make the roll a little bit spicy. For who like or didn't like, we can take it out.
You're fibbing to us. You're not being honest. This is not vegan because on there was tuna.
Oh, the tuna. The tuna is 100% vegan. After I check and everything, I can commit that everything over here in my restaurant is vegan. 100% the tuna made from beans and soya.
I would absolutely swear that was tuna. And I'm vegetarian, so I haven't, like you, I haven't had tuna for 30 years. I now have in my mouth the taste of tuna.
Do you find that vegans that come here want the food to taste vegan or they're happy to taste tuna?
There is a lot of kind of people. There is kind of people that like something that's similar to fish or for something not vegan. But there is also people that came over here and not try to eat something vegan as a vegan. They just trying to eat good sushi, fresh vegetable, and all the ingredients is fresh and just good ingredients.
Not only is the food tasty and beautifully presented, I'm really stunningly presented. Those of you listening, go to our social media at Mark David Pod to see some of the photographs.
It's opposite my bus stop on the way home, so I'm sure I will be coming back on a regular basis. We've had 3 lovely types of sushi. How many different types of sushi are there, and is there anything else other than sushi on the menu?
There is about 20 or 22 rolls. Special one about the kind that you eat. Of course, everything is very different one from each other. There is about 15 or 16 first dishes. We had 5 kind of salads, and we had buns, dessert, dim sum, of course, Depend on you what you like to eat. If you want only sushi or you want something for open the appetite.
I just want to take you behind the scenes a little bit because we pass here and we work with Eliran for a few years already. And one of the things that I could say, and one of the things that I very feel comfortable of bringing guests here, is that there is no compromises here. I mean, you tasted that in the tuna, and I don't usually like to order substitutes in the flavors from the non-vegan world, but we tasted it today, and you feel there is no compromise in the flavor here, but also the ingredients. Also, we've seen, I wish you could see this beautiful platter that we were served with the flowers and the colors and the sauces, and everything was so accurate and placed so beautifully. And this is the essence behind the scenes. I know that if something doesn't, like the crazy chefs, something isn't right in the dish, he'll throw everything away. Not in a wasteful way. It's mostly things that have been from the day before. He'll not keep them. So everything is fresh, precise, and with beautiful touch of aesthetic. And this is the essence of the place.
Obviously, as we said, at the end of the pod, we're going to give you Eviatar's details so that you can come on the tour with him. But if you decide to come to Green Roll all by yourself, whereabouts are you located?
We're located on Echad Ha'am, 15th Street. It's right on the corner of Nahalat Binyamin, Tel Aviv, of course. And I hope soon going to be a couple of Green Roll other cities in Israel and maybe in the future something in the States.
In the corner, there is a little area called the Nest.
The Nest. You're supposed to go to sleep after you eat a full dish. Most of the time people get tired over here.
So I'm going to go for a quick nap, and then we're going to carry on our food tour. Thank you, Eliran.
We're here till 11. We're going to wake you up. Go to sleep. Have a nice evening.
Tel Aviv Fact File. El Al flies to Ben Gurion Airport from most major European cities, plus New York, Boston, Miami, Los Angeles and Johannesburg. Air Canada, BA, Cathay, Delta, United and Virgin all fly direct to Tel Aviv. Turkish offers great connections to Tel Aviv. There's an excellent, inexpensive train service from just outside arrivals at Ben Gurion Airport, with buses and taxis also available for the 20-minute journey to Tel Aviv. There are hotels and hostels to suit most budgets, but be aware Tel Aviv is an expensive city. Our hotel recommendations include the luxury Carlton and the new David Kempinski. Norman's is a great boutique hotel, not kosher, and for the budget traveller, the Abraham Hostel is very popular. There's little to no chance of rain from May to September, with July and August hot and often humid. There can be heavy downpours in the winter months, but the days can often be warm. The currency is the Israeli shekel. $100 will buy you 351 shekels as of the end of September 2022. Vegan restaurants abound. For the podcast, we ate at Bana, Green Roll and Meshek Barzilai.
So Eviatar, how did you get into tours?
I worked as a bartender for like 8 years. Afterwards, I started working in event productions, and eventually I wanted to reduce the night time of my working hours, so I started working as a travel agent. That brought me to travel to India and Thailand, which I saw there a bar tour going on, and I really understood, like I had a eureka moment, that this is what I want to do. I want to host people professionally.
In your resume of your life that we just heard there, the one thing that you missed out, I think you missed it out, was that you owned and ran a restaurant in your time in India. Tell us about that.
I'm also, I consider myself a very friendly person, and I came across a very fun, exciting guy actually here in Israel when we were working as travel agents, which is Hindu. His name is Balu, and we were very good friends. And one of the visits I had in India was in purpose to go and see a restaurant together, which eventually we actually owned together. And I had a restaurant in India for a year on the Ganga, on the Gangas. It was called Chill Out Ganga. It's still a good place. It's a typical Hindu restaurant with, international cuisine from 14, countries. It's kind of a funny menu. But do you know how you know when you own a restaurant in India?
Nope.
It's when you have a cow in your kitchen.
Okay, now you're actually being serious, even though that's a joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a funny joke, but it was real. One day I came to the restaurant and there was a cow in the kitchen, and everybody was very normal about it because, cows are holy in India, and she was just, smelling, licking some sugar and just doing her thing, and, everybody was working and making dishes, and there was just a cow in the kitchen.
So you didn't have the beef special for the month after that?
No beef bourguignon that day.
Now we're in our final port of call for the evening. The menu is, again, fabulous, very different from the first two places that we've been to. Tell us a little bit about where we are.
We're now in Meshek Barzilai. Meshek in Hebrew is like a farm. This place was established as a restaurant in 2002 by Meirav Barzilai, the grandchild of who lived in Yarkona and was growing vegetables, had a farm in that village. And in 2002, she made a transformation, first of all, to organic soil and produce. And she turned a part of the farm on the basis of the produce that she's growing next, to the restaurant, of really high-leveled vegetarian plates and dishes, farm to table. So she made a big name for herself, and basically the restaurant started to become very busy, and people were visiting the village, a small, quiet countryside village, and there started to be traffic and honking and everything a successful restaurant brings with it, and they kind of decided with some help to move here to Tel Aviv. So we're now actually in Nevet Tzedek, a very loose translation to the name of this very picturesque neighborhood is Oasis of Justice. Who wouldn't want to live in Oasis of Justice, right?
Mark, the well-known criminal and co-presenter of the podcast.
Well, try it. It may change a few things for you. Oasis of Justice. Well, it's also a half joke. It's Nevet Tzedek, one of the two first Jewish neighborhoods here in Tel Aviv. But it's a very similar vibe and ambiance, the restaurant itself and the location which they picked. Everything is here natural wood and plants around us, and climbing plants and decor, and the tables look like the tables they used in the original restaurant. So this place recently was picked to be the number one vegan vegetarian restaurant in Israel. They serve here really chef level, high end dishes.
Well, the most important part of the meal has happened. A nice bottle of English cider has arrived. So I will partake a little of that, and we will look at the food in a minute.
As usual, I'm the driver.
Thank you very much, David.
You're very welcome, Mark. Hi, this is David Harris from the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
We are still in Meshek Barzilai. Evyatar has grabbed a lucky winner of the raffle prize.
Chance to appear on the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition.
Who is Fuldan, who is also on the tour with us.
Well, she's not on the same tour because she's got her own guide whose name is...
Tai. Hi.
She's on a more exclusive tour.
Absolutely.
Because there's two of us here. And Fuldan has her own tour. But she's come to join us for dessert in Meshek Barzilai. How's the tour been so far for you?
I think quite good, and I think the best is coming now, I would assume, with the dessert.
Perfect timing.
Oh, yes, really? Oh, my God, there it is. Wow, okay.
Ask your server if
Wow.
you can tell us what you're serving.
This is tiramisu. This is cheesecake from cashew with the bottom of almond, cacao, and coconut with mango. And this is lemon tart with the aquafaba on the top. It's from the water of the hummus.
Thank you very much indeed. Wow, lemon tart's my favourite. Fuldan, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you're doing in Israel.
I'm a German of Turkish origin. and I just came here to travel Israel for 7 days. And I'm working for German Development Corporation in Turkey, though, in Ankara, and heading to Amman on Sunday to attend a conference.
Why do this type of tour?
This type of tour, I love to eat.
Okay, it's a good reason.
Yeah, that's
Are
the first
you,
reason.
so I should ask at that point, are you vegan yourself?
Oh, I'm not vegan at all, but I like to eat vegan because I think it's super light, and they usually use good vegetables, and I think there's a whole philosophy behind it, and so I mean I like that. Though I don't stick to it in my life in general, I have to say, and I have heard that in Tel Aviv the scene is huge, so I thought I'm going to try it out.
We've been to 3 restaurants together, although you've been lagging behind us. But that's because we eat quicker. Which has been your favourite so far?
I think this is quite difficult to say because they're all quite different, and I think they were made in a... The English word doesn't get into my mind now. 3-Gänge menu, 3 different types of dishes also. But 3 courses. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. They were chosen quite well. So the first one, which was a lima bean, which I've eaten for the first time because I did not know any lima beans. I just know fava beans. And then the second one was sushi. That was a surprise to me, though. But it was, I think I also told you, super light, lighter than usual, because usually I can't eat that much sushi because my stomach is full. And then everything was good, but if I have to choose, I think I would choose the risotto mushroom because I love mushrooms.
Right.
Yes,
we were talking about mushrooms before we turned on the microphone as well. Both Mark and I, favourites by far.
I think you can't do anything wrong with mushrooms.
Well, tell that to Mark's wife, who's allergic to mushrooms.
What? Oh.
There you go, Catherine. You got an honourable mention on the podcast.
Thank you, full done.
Oh, thank you.
And enjoy your stay in Israel.
Amen.
Oh, Mark.
Oh, David, not again. You're going to have to roll me home soon from these podcasts.
We've had many great food experiences as we've travelled the world, and now we've had a great food experience on our own doorstep. And that's really thanks to our host for tonight, Eviatar. Thank you, first of all, so much.
Yeah, actually, it was my pleasure. I mean, you guys are so much fun.
We know. We know. We're the real highlight of the tour.
How much do I owe you for this blessed time?
We'll let you cover dinner.
All right. Well, that's a fair deal.
Seriously speaking, we've had an amazing time. Before we ask you to give your details to listeners, have you got a closing message, something that you would like people to take away from the last half an hour that they've been listening to us?
There's 2 main messages regarding the vegan tour itself. The summary that we'd like to pass on is just a nice message that we're not trying to convert or convince anybody to be vegan. It's more a foodie tour that is really delicious and fun and exciting. And also, there's a lot of philosophy and sense behind veganism. And the bottom line, which we finished the tour with, we don't want to ruin all the surprise, but I can't not mention that if everybody kind of is a little bit more aware and changes one habit in their life and tries to make the world a better place, together we're going to make the world just a little bit more fun and more sustainable and more pleasant and better for the next generations. The second message is that I think we got carried away with all the fun. So there is so much things to learn about veganism and about Tel Aviv and so much to see here. And we just talked about just what we're eating and we just had a blast. So there's so much more to explore and discover on the vegan tour or any of the other ones. And I wish to meet each person that hears this podcast and spend some time together just like we spent today.
For me, and we've done a few food tours now, the food is only half of the story. It's the company and the stories and what you learn along the way. And we've had great company this evening. We've bumped into another food tour and merged with it and met people that we wouldn't have met ordinarily and got to talk about not only the food but Tel Aviv and where we are. What other tours do you offer?
So we do all kinds of different tours all over Israel and Jerusalem and Haifa and private cars and everything and history, of course. We are Tel Aviv professionals. We're the number one leading tourism company in Tel Aviv. So you could also do the markets. We have Bauhaus and architecture tours. Of course, all the history, nightlife tours, different styles of nightlife tours, just like a crazy full-on pub crawl or a cocktail tour. That Israel is huge on cocktails and night culture. And we have amazing, really eye-opening, really fun graffiti tours in depth or for families. And so much more, bike tours, yacht sails, whatever you want, pretty much. We're a one-stop shop for all the good stuff of Tel Aviv and Israel. And we really pride ourselves with amazing service. So the best thing is just to call us or drop us an email or a WhatsApp, and we'll be sure to give you the best service and ideas and recommendations what to do. And of course, if you choose to do a tour with us, we always try to be high value for money and give you the best, most top professionals of their own field. And we really give a feeling of being a local in another city and getting the best experience. Like one of my secrets, okay, can I tell secrets? Nobody listens.
Well,
nobody's listening, right?
No one's listening to
Yes, okay, good. One of my biggest secrets is that we give experience here as if we were in your shoes as a guest. We would want you to get the service and the experience that we would like to get for ourselves. And that is what we do, basically.
I'm drawn to the idea of a cocktail tour now. So let's pack up here. Before we go, Eviatar, please give us the company details and how people can get hold of you and organize a tour.
Sure. So we're called Be Tel Aviv Tours. Be as the verb to be, being Tel Aviv. It's, of course, www.betelavivtours.com, one word. You can find us on Facebook with spaces in between, Be Tel Aviv Tours, or Be Tel Aviv straight on Instagram. Our phone number is +972 52 645 8779.
Bet you can't say that a second time.
+972 52 645 8779.
Impressive.
And you can find all the details online. Just look for us, Be Tel Aviv, on, Dr. Google.
Eviatar, it's been a wonderful 3-4 hours. It's flown by. I would love to do more of this. Hopefully we will get back together with you maybe in a year's time, do one of the other tours, maybe graffiti, maybe alcohol to keep Mark sated. Thank you for your hospitality, and just thank you.
Well, it was really a privilege and an honor, and it was really an amazing time because you guys, I'm going to say it again, you guys are fun and amazing, and anywhere in the world when you need me, just let me know, I'll be there.
Cocktails! That was rather good, wasn't it?
What a pleasant evening. What a lovely man.
Lovely company.
The whole thing was terrific. Highly, highly recommended. Thank you, Mark, for finding out about this. It was, your
Thank
research.
you, Google, for helping me. But really, a big thank you to Eviatar for accompanying us this evening, taking us on one of his food tours. Highly recommend it.
And also say thank you to the folks at Banner, at Green Roll.
Behind you, Green Roll.
And
Meshek Barzilai.
well remembered. So yeah, thank you to everybody. The service was great.
The food was great.
And to, can you remember her name?
Fuldan.
Well done. If you've enjoyed this podcast, which of course you have, it would be lovely, lovely, lovely. If you do, you know what? Don't do all of the things we're about to say. Do one of them. You choose which, and it would be really nice if you did.
Follow us on Instagram at MarkDavidPod.
You could email us just to drop a line with some questions or tell us what you think about us or the podcast. And that you can do at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
Follow us on Facebook, Mark and David's Travels.
You could subscribe. That's a really important one. You hit the button that says subscribe on your own podcast platform.
And when you subscribe, you could also listen to our other 40 plus podcasts that we now have. A little encyclopedia around the world.
One more possibility, just in case we haven't given you enough already. you can also write a little bit about us on your favourite podcast provider. So if you're on Spotify or iTunes or anything else, there is a place where you can say how wonderful we are, and that really helps us with our ratings.
David, do you remember the quiz question from about 4 hours ago?
Absolutely.
What was it?
Question number 1. Ha 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 ha. There is only one question. Question number 1. How many vegans, or what percentage of Tel Avivians are vegan and vegetarian?
Well, according to the city's tourism office in Tel Aviv, the number in 2020 was around 9.2%, of which 4.7% were vegan.
You have a very good memory.
I just made it up. I would say no one's going to check it, but someone will check it and email us at MarkDavidPod.
Folks, we hope you've enjoyed our tour of Tel Aviv as much as we have. We hope you will join us the next time on the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition.
Cocktails!
Goodbye from both of us.